Hey there, it's Pete C for Sample Library Review, and today I'm checking out Fluid Woods by Audio Imperia and Performance Samples. After the brilliant brass short powerhouse that was Fluid Brass, Audio Imperia has teamed up for the third time with Performance Samples to release Fluid Woods. Once again, the audio of the day is expressive shorts full of all the round robins and velocity layers you could ever need. With 5 instruments, the intuitive pyramid engine, and ease of use out of the box, Fluid Woods serves one function exceptionally well. Fluid Woods downloads at 20.2 gigabytes and features 5 woodwind instruments and 5 mic mixes. There are up to 8 dynamic layers and 10 round robins, and faster speeds are automatically triggered based upon your playing speeds. Fluid Woods runs in the free Contact 6.7.1 or better and is NKS compatible. Normally, Fluid Woods sells for $99, but is on intro sale at the moment for $79. For those of you who have used Audio Imperia products before, this is the standard GUI, which is the pyramid engine. And you can see it's Audio Imperia and Performance Samples, and this is the third time they've teamed up. Now, out of the box, these sound incredible. So there's the flutes. But before I go any further, I've decided or realised it's a bit of an injustice just to play sort of examples in real time, when these libraries really shine when they're used in a production. So with Fluid Brass as well and Fluid Winds, I've put together a sort of space caper, space adventure type of music. I did say in the Fluid Brass review that these are perfect for those sort of John Williams moments, those flutters, those ornaments, and the real big power like staccatos. And I wanted to show that with a track I've created, which could appear in a galaxy far away. So a bit of like sci-fi action, I guess. And it's worthy of note, I've actually used Audio Imperia's Solo as well, and Jaeger and Nucleus, as well as Fluid Woods and Fluid Shorts. Not Shorts, sorry. I actually have used Fluid Shorts, which is the Performance Samples library, and Fluid Brass as well. And after I've played the demo, I'm going to highlight some MIDI examples as well, so you can hear it in a production, so we get a better idea of how these sound. The demo really does show how versatile these instruments are, and when you sort of get into the Audio Imperia infrastructure especially, and Performance Samples as well, you just have some amazing combinations. Now, I have used libraries from other developers so we can see how it fits together, but I would say 60% of this track is audio, Imperia, and performance samples. So you get a good idea of how it all gels together. For the next part of the video, what I'm going to do is jump into the demo that I made and just isolate some of the parts. Now, I use all of the 5 different instruments, so I'll highlight those as I go. We'll start off with the piccolo, and a great example of doing a sort of piccolo run, as it were. So if I just solo that, and we can hear what it sounds like on its own. And then in context, we get this. And it works really, really well with fluid breaths. So I've got the trumpets, and I believe it is just the trumpets actually, playing this, which is really, really bitey, and you can hear how they just work really well together. So yeah, it's very cool. And let's just go back to the piccolo. So some ornaments. Again, I just like these little sort of twee, low dynamic sort of woodwind ornaments. And again, in context. And those little ornaments, they're sort of push to the background. You see I'm using very low velocity, but they just have that sort of really cool sort of feel to them. And then I've got some stabs. I'll play those solo. And I'm doubling these with the flute and the clarinet as well. So hearing all that together. So you get a really nice sort of spread. And you notice I'm not really on the grid. I don't often quantize everything completely mechanically together. And you just get that sort of realism. Again, in context. So they sound really cool. And then if we just move over. This section is a run, which on this occasion is sort of quite hard quantized. And then it moves to this sort of flutter run. So again, I'll just play this on its own. And they kind of sort of cross parts there, some interesting MIDI writing. But you can see, just to get that sort of human feel, the use of velocity is incredibly important. So it is dipping in places, and sometimes it goes very, very quiet, and that's absolutely fine. So if I play it again in context. There is a lot going on there. And then I've doubled these, again, little ornaments, which are sort of, I'm not going to say out of time, but quite relaxed in terms of timing. And they slow down, and they work again with some trumpets, I believe. Yep, just here. We can drop these in. Again, I'll just solo these. Wait for that decay. And again, in context. So really useful just for adding a bit of definition and movement. I'm moving on to the clarinet staccato part. So it's sort of following the main rhythm of that really busy section. if I play that in context, and it just really gives some definition to that section. And I believe, aside from some flutes, again doubling that run in context. Sorry, my audio is a little bit spotty there for some reason. No reflection in the instrument. It is just my system playing up. And there is Fluid Woods oboe. So again, punctuating these runs, and same with the bassoon, or punctuating the rhythm. And we do a double run at the end. In context. Everything hits together. So that is just some playable examples from the demo, and let's just take a closer look at the instruments. After those MIDI examples, we can take a closer look at the instruments. I've loaded up the flutes. Which sound fantastic out of the box. That high end is really, really piercing, very, very powerful. And the lower end is a lot warmer, but again, can have that power. You'll notice that there are two modes. There is the basic mode and the advanced mode. So we're going to look at the basic mode first. On the left-hand side, you have your mic selection. So if we go close mic, it could be very, very quiet, but very, very dry. And then we have the sectional mics. Absolutely love the room sound. Then we've got the AB mics. Then we've got the wide. And we have the ambient. Now, I do love the ambient mics. Underneath, we've got the reverb. So I'm going to turn the reverb off and just quickly play through those again. And you can really appreciate the room sound. So that's the ambient. Here's the wide. Oops. Sounds great. And then the AB. And the sectional mics. So that's kind of like the driest but most full body, and then the close. And in the demo, I use the standard, as you load it up, close mics and AB sections. So that's the microphone. You can control the reverb, and in the basic mode, there's only one reverb choice, but there are more later. So again, that's just room sound. And if I go full, a very, very generous reverb going on there. And then on the right hand side, you've got dynamics. They are on the mod wheel, but we don't use the dynamics. The layers are all sort of velocity triggered. So there's a lot of keyboard banging there, but you can really hear the velocity layers in action. And then we've got expression, which is just your volume. Nice and straightforward. Then you've got the type button. So this adjusts the sample start. In every Audio Imperia instrument with the Pyramid engine, you are set to a negative delay of minus 120 milliseconds. What you can do, if you press tight, it considerably shortens that. So if you work on the grid and you quantize everything, this is what you need to press to just make everything sort of laser accurate, as it were. Now, I don't really hard quantize, as you can see from my demo, so I'm quite happy just to leave it as it is. And if you do click tight, you do cut off a small amount of the sample start. So it's ultra responsive. So that's without. So it's very difficult to hear, but when you're working with the instrument, that's what you get. If I go to the oboes, and I'm streaming off an SSD with this library, and you can see the memory is quite big. There's a lot of sample data to load. Obviously, if you just use a single mic, that goes down quite considerably. But I'm going to stick to the close and the AB, and let's go advanced. Now, there's only one articulation, as we said, but you do have more choices of reverb. So we've got room or hall, and you can adjust the pre-delay, how many milliseconds and the amount. And then you have more control over the sample start. So the bit I said about 120 milliseconds, I was working in, I think it's Nucleus, and it was 120. And I've just seen on here it's 100. So it does vary between instruments. So I will correct myself there. Now, you can adjust the sample start, go as low as 20 milliseconds, which is the type button enabled, or at 100. And then you can adjust the dynamic range. So we've got full dynamic range there, or if you just want one dynamic. Oops. You can do it that way. And then the expression again, which we've already covered, and then the velocity curve, which I have all my velocity curves put into my DAW of choice, and complete control, which I do use a lot. So don't really need to adjust this, but it's very, very useful. There are a lot of libraries where you might need to. And then you also have the transposition, should you need it. So I've just made it so everything's a lot higher and easier to play. I've made that one more dainty, as it were, and quieter. And then if we go back to the transposition, you can adjust where the note groupings are, which is a lot easier. If you're just sort of copy and pasting different sections, you can just instantly create an arrangement without worrying about the different octaves. But I like to just copy and paste and shift click up and down, etc. So that is all the controls. It's a really, really straightforward instrument, but the point is it just sounds incredible. So the oboe. And if I load the clarinet, if I play a single note and adjust the speed that I'm playing, it's that amazing performance sampling technique where you saw this in like Perf Perk. When you start playing quicker, the playback adapts to the speed you're playing, so you get a more human and less machine gun effect sort of playback. So I'm just hammering that D note. So if you're doing these like runs, which, you know, in real time, I'm not so great at playing, but I can obviously program these to my heart's content, and you just get that really fluid human performance. So that's clarinet. The bassoon, a lot lower down. And this fantastic low end. Whoops. So again, I use these to create like these amazing little arrangements and sort of full woodwind hits. And when you combine them with the Fluid Brass library, it just sounds out of this world, but it's really, really bitey. And then if we go to the piccolo, so these examples are just so you can hear exactly what it sounds like. But like I say, if you look at the MIDI examples, which I did, you can hear like different speeds, sort of different techniques and how you can use them, different dynamics. So it is very, very versatile. It is just short, but they are very, very versatile shorts. They cover everything really. So that low E flat. And then it goes all the way up to this B. I mean, that's quite a range. And again, the speed. So again, the way it just adapts and creates that human quality is fantastic. I've also got the audio performance, as I always do, going on. I can't actually move it over. It really isn't that resource heavy. The patches are quite big, but the good news is you don't need to load like tons of these and layer them together. So yeah, in terms of memory usage, it is there, I will say. But again, you can reduce it by just using one mic, for example. If I was to use the AB, could probably get away with just that. So that's actually not a massive memory footprint. However, in terms of CPU usage, very, very low. My final thoughts on Fluid Woods is it's a brilliant utility instrument. It does one thing incredibly well. And if you combine it with Fluid Brass, you've got just these like really, really punchy sections. And I know there's going to be the question, is Fluid Strings going to be coming? And obviously Performance Samples already have their own Fluid Shorts library, which is a very similar principle. There's only Fluid Shorts 2 available currently at the moment, but maybe that will change. But I use Fluid Shorts 1 and 2. They were two of the first libraries that I ever bought, and I still use them now. So this whole principle of these utilities are great. What makes this so special? Yes, you've got all the different round robins, the velocity layers, and they sound great, but they will blend with any library you choose to use. So yes, I did use a lot of Audio Imperia libraries and some performance sampled libraries there. I also use some other developers, and it's still very cohesive and works together. It sounds very human. To program runs, to do these little flutters, to do like ornaments, or just have big impact stabs and punctuate certain rhythms, it's absolutely perfect. The fact you have all different mic options means you can just tweak it to your heart's content. Yep, there is reverb there. Obviously you can use your own reverb if you want to, anything third party, but really I didn't really feel the need to. In fact, I didn't put any reverb on that track. It was all instrumental reverb from the different libraries. Do I recommend it? Of course I recommend it. Again, combine it with Fluid Brass and you've got this sort of like powerhouse utility. I use this on loads of different styles of music. Obviously hybrid orchestral, if you're doing straight ahead orchestral music, that's fine. Small orchestras, no problem. You can use it in jazz, you can use it in noir, you can use it on crime tracks. It's just going to work all over the place. So really you're limited by your imagination. It's got a great price point, and I really hope that Audio Imperia and Performance Samples do complete the trilogy in terms of adding some strings there as well. And yeah, it's just going to be a fantastic set of instruments. All that leaves me to say is thank you so much for checking out this review of Fluid Woods by Audio Imperia and Performance Samples. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave us a comment and like the video. Let us know how you would use this instrument and what you'd like about it. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos on YouTube, and then head over to samplereview.com to see what is going on in the world of virtual instruments. Until next time, have a great day and take care.